I asked everyone on Instagram what they wanted to see in a home library / bookshelf tour, and a lot of people said they wanted to see me drunk. Well, it's the middle of the day, so I'm not doing that. However, I have compromised with a glass of wine. Just a casual one, this won't get me drunk. But it will, take the edge off a little bit. So hi, welcome back to How to Train Your Gavin. Today I'm doing an updated home library / bookshelf tour. I did one in 2019, one in 2021, and most recently last year in 2022. My library has expanded since then. Let's just call this a Sims expansion pack. And also, why did nobody tell me I looked like shit in my bookshelf tour last year? I'm going to be going through all of the sections of my library because I have divided my library into sections. So I do have the classics corner, I have the nostalgia Nook, I have the graphic novel Alcove, I have the Manga Island, I have the YA and adult retreat, I have my special edition square, and I have my middle grade lane. Is that all of them? Yeah, I think it is. So there are quite a few sections that have been added to my home library since last year. So if you watched my 2022 library video, just forget about it. I might end up repeating myself when I go through the same sections that I did last year. I didn't rewatch it, so I don't know if I'm going to repeat myself. I will try and focus more on the storytelling of my library collection and certain books and things like that. Maybe just highlight some of the most important ones in my collection rather than just going through book by book. We'd be here a long time. A very long time if I pulled out every single book and told you about it. There are over 2,000 books in this collection, so let's just not do that. If you do want to look at every single book that I own, I do have a spreadsheet with my entire book collection in it. In that spreadsheet, it does tell you if I've read it or not. It probably does need updating, but it does have every single book that's in this room. So if you want to check it out, if you want to see what books are specifically on my bookshelves, then I do have a spreadsheet down below. I am going to try and use my tripod for the majority of this video, but there are some very tight corners and very tight spaces in this library room that I will probably have to go handheld for some of it. I really do apologise if I'm shaky. I'm a naturally shaky person as it is, but I will try my absolute best to not shake as much. But it's just so hard for me not to. I think that's everything, but don't forget to leave this video a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, let's go and have a look at some books. Okay, hi. I'm all the way down here. I thought I would start off with the classics corner, and this is the classics corner. I don't think it's changed too much since the 2022 tour, but you know what? We don't want to leave any stone unturned. So let's go through this great corner, if you ask me. I would love to try and include some more lights over here because with fairy lights being over the other side of the rooms, there's a lot more light there. And it seems like the classics corner is usually bathed in shadow, which I guess could also work really well. But alas, I don't think it looks that great in general. However, let's just continue on. I do have a candelabra at the top there. I got that one Halloween and thought, where should I put it? I know, at the top of Classics Corner. I have a raven or a crow. I actually don't know which one it is. I thought that would fit because Edgar Allan Poe, the raven, if it is a raven. And I do have the Song of Ice and Fire series. I'm sure I have opened it up and shown you in my last couple of bookshelf tours. And I also have the Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin up there too. Haven't read it, but I have read the Song of Ice and Fire series. I thought they were pretty good. I am a huge fan of Game of Thrones, apart from the final season. So yeah, that is the very, very top shelf, which is very high up. Let's go down. Let's see if you can see me when you come down. Oh, you can just see the top of my head. Hiya. I do have my little microphone here as well. Hopefully you can hear it okay. But I also apologize if the stand moves and shakes a little bit. The floor in this room isn't the best. So as soon as I move, the stand might shake a little bit. I apologize. There's nothing I can do. So now I can actually say, let's go through the more top two shelves of Classics Corner. So I do have a lot of Barnes & Noble editions. When I say a lot though, actually, I probably have way less than a lot of people who have these collections, but I do have, say, like the Nutcracker and Other Christmas Tales, absolutely beautiful. Really enjoy the Nutcracker story. I read it a couple of years ago during Christmas, and it was just so magical. Complete Tales of Winnie the Pooh, too. I still haven't read Winnie the Pooh. Can you believe it? Oh, and I do have a little masquerade mask up here, too. I went to a ball last year for a book launch, and it was so magical and so wonderful, so I thought, you know what, let's keep the mask out. Let's put it on the shelves. Good old Snow Queen and Sherlock Holmes, Jane Austen. Read all of Jane Austen last year too. Absolutely loved Jane Austen. And I had read some of her books before, but not all of them. I did a vlog reading all of them, and it was a great experience, honestly. So I hope that if you watch it, you enjoy. I have Les Miserables, The Phantom of the Opera, Chronicles of Narnia. Now, I've been looking for this edition for years. This is a newish addition to my collection, and I've been looking for it for years, absolutely years. And then Cancer Research UK were doing an auction for it, and I thought, you know what, it's helping out charity. I'm getting a book that I've been looking for my entire life. Let's do it. So I ended up winning the bid, and I ended up reading them all and hating it. I do not like Chronicles of Narnia, and I do have a reading vlog for that too. If you want to check it out, it's on my channel. But fair warning, if you do love the Chronicles of Narnia, don't watch it. Literally don't watch it. I beg. The collection, it does show off a scene from The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which I think was the only book that I somewhat liked in the series. So I thought, you know what, it's lovely facing out, matches Jane Austen facing out, let's do it. I have Edgar Allan Poe. I do have some like candles and things from Grace and Honey. I have those lying around on my shelves. I have 3 of these smaller, I think they're Barnes & Noble editions, but I do have, say, Aladdin and the Arabian Nights, The Little Mermaid, and Merry Adventures of Robin Hood. So I have some ones that inspired some of my favourite Disney movies. So yes, I absolutely love that. Have a little cup there from Illumicrate, I believe. I have a plant. I do have a lot of vines everywhere, and I am going for a sort of jungle/forest theme in this room, or at least a section of this room, not all of it. Otherwise, that would probably be too many plants. But it is looking a little overgrown, which is exactly the kind of look I'm going for. I want it to seem like this library is just grown in the forest, and the forest is reclaiming it back into nature. That's kind of the look I'm going for. But I do have just a random plant here. I think I got it from Primark, and I was going home, and it wasn't a net. It wasn't a net. I was walking home, and it was raining, and the bag just totally got too damp, and everything fell out. So I lost the net because it was in the middle of the road. I had to run after it. And yeah, that happens a lot, actually. I remember I went to Whitby, and actually I think The Little Mermaid was in the bag. And again, my bag split in the middle of the road and I had to run after it. It happens to me a lot. I have a lot of other kind of, I think these are Canterbury classics. These ones here. Oh yeah, it actually says it on the actual book. I'm silly. This one is Flame Tree. This is Christmas Gothic Short Stories. This one is actually gorgeous though. Like, this is a really beautiful Christmas Gothic book, which I would love to read sometime. So things like Grimm's Fairy Tales, Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, so sort of those things. I love the look of these on the shelves. I think they are absolutely stunning. I have the Seasons editions of several classics. Now, what I love about these editions are that you can actually read them. The actual text inside the books are legible. The font is not tiny, which usually puts me off classics, is when the font is tiny. But in these Seasons editions, the font is a really great font size. So I thought, you know, let's try and get as many of those as I could so that I can actually read these books. So I have Emma, Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, Jane Eyre, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Anne of Green Gables, and Shakespeare in Autumn. I have this, which has been in my collection for like the last 8 years. It's just a lantern thing I think I got from IKEA. I have a sort of East of the Sun, West of the Moon book by Jackie Morris. Now, let's go a bit further down. It'll be a lot easier for me when we're further down. Okay, this is a lot better. Now I'm a lot closer to the shelf, so you can see the books a lot better. But I do have some more things, some little knickknacks on this one. I have these sort of gothic type candles. They look like they're melting. I just got these off Amazon, very cheap. I have a few hardback books here. Again, a Nutcracker and a Snow Queen book too. I really love these kinds of editions. They're thin and long. My favourite type of book. I have some Charles Perrault fairy tales, so Beauty and the Beast, I think he wrote. King in Yellow, that is a classic horror. Camilla, haven't read that yet. And then I have my Puff and Clothbound classics. I believe there are a few more that have been released since I've started collecting them. I mean, I've been collecting them for the last, I think, 3 years. And they haven't released very many, but I'm sure a whole bunch got released quite recently. But, you know, it has been Christmas, it has been New Year, so I'm saving my money. And I haven't got them just yet, but these are some of my favourite editions. Like, I adore the cover of The Wizard of Oz. It's one of my favourites from when I was a child. And yeah, I used to have Wuthering Heights, Christmas Carol, Little Prince, Black Beauty, Frankenstein, Treasure Island. And Dracula, I read quite recently too. I absolutely loved Dracula so much. And I got this goblet from Whitby when I went to read Dracula. So I think it's just really nice to have next to Dracula. On the shelf down, this is more like a kind of more epic fantasy, I guess, a classic epic fantasy. Although it's very up in the air, actually. I don't really know what to call the shelf, but I do have just an empty photo album thing. I think I got it from Fairy Loot. And Dune by Frank Herbert. This is a really beautiful edition from Waterstones. I really love the look of that. I should probably take that sticker off the cover. I have a anniversary edition of Name of the Wind. I got this dragon thing, that's going to fall out, from a seller in Comic-Con. It is an actual sort of tomb thingy-mabobby that is absolutely stunning. But yeah, I got it from a stall in Comic-Con. Let me show you it up close. This is how it looks. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I don't know, and I don't remember who the seller was, but it was at a stall, and I just absolutely adore it. Underneath that, this is just a wizard's guide from the game Ni no Kuni, and this is from the collector's edition. It is like a spell book kind of guide thing for the story of Ni no Kuni. I love the game so much. It was produced by Studio Ghibli, so it is a fantastic game if you love Studio Ghibli. And I played the second game as well. I think it was called Revenant Kingdom. But I just have a special place in my heart for the very first book, and I got this with the collector's edition. I have my Tolkien books, so I have Silmarillion, Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings. I'm not even going to try and pronounce those. Well, I would love to try and read them at some point. I really would like to try and get more into the Middle-earth series and to know more about the lore and the world. So these are like these nice hardback editions of the books. I love the simplicity of the covers of these too, like genuinely. And I did really enjoy the Lord of the Rings series. I think I gave them all 4 stars because I just rated it as a collective. Ursula K. Le Guin, I have the Earthsea series there. I don't know if that's the correct name for it, but I did read the first 3, wasn't the biggest fan, but I do want to try and read it at a time when I would probably appreciate it more. So yeah, I do really love these editions. I think they're so beautiful. You know, let me just get further down so I can show you. But yeah, Wizard of Earthsea, like, I love the cover of this. It does look absolutely stunning. So I keep them there. They are really nice. Okay, the bottom 2 shelves aren't really anything to write home about, if you ask me. I do have another Masquerade mask here too. This was another option for the ball, but I went for the more blue and sparkly mask. So I keep the mask there. And I have some random things here. What's this? I have my dissertation here. And yeah, I've mentioned my dissertation quite a lot from when I was an undergraduate at university. I did an English degree and I did my dissertation on Anne Radcliffe's Gothic and things like that. So yeah, I have my dissertations there. I have a Whitby Abbey guide. This is like really jam-packed, so it's really hard to get any books out. So I'll probably just leave it there. But there is a Whitby Abbey kind of guide there too, just to show you photos of it and the history of Whitby Abbey, which is stunning and gorgeous. It's a beautiful place to visit if you ever think of going to Whitby. I got these kind of dungeon-like keys from Whitby as well, and I thought these would look absolutely awesome on the shelves. So yeah, these just look like really old school dungeon keys, and they feel so heavy, and I love them. I think having them on the classic shelf is definitely the way forward. I have a lot of my Penguin classics here too. I have a lot, and I don't think I can really single any of these out. I have all of Jane Austen, I have Little Women. Anything else of note? I have one Charles Dickens book. I should probably try and read more Charles Dickens. I read Great Expectations and I liked Great Expectations. So yeah, The Monk by Matthew Lewis. Really great Gothic there. Richard Marsh the Beetle, I would really love to read. I read Melmoth the Wanderer, wasn't the biggest fan. Moby Dick, I'd like to read that just because I remember it from Matilda. And yeah, just some other Penguin English Library editions. I have this is like literally the newest addition to my collection, Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. I'm going to Paris at the end of this month and I really wanted to read something set in Paris. And this is a classic. This is a classic set in 1950s Paris. So I thought, yeah, that's great. That's a really good option. I have quite a few Oxford World Classics too. Here I have Anne Radcliffe's books, who I absolutely adore. You need to read The Italian. You need to read The Italian by Anne Radcliffe. It is one of my favourite, in fact, it is my favourite Gothic classic of all time. Love it. North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell, I really enjoyed too. And The Picture of Dorian Gray at the bottom there, one of my favourite Gothic classics as well. These 2 books, I think I mentioned this in every bookshelf tour, but these 2 books are just random plays that I got gifted to me from my professor at university because I attended an optional seminar and not many people did. I think I was one of 2 people who went, and so he gave me these as a thank you. Bless them. I'll never read them, but, you know, the thought was there. I have a couple more just random classics there too. Just, you know, ones that I can't really group together in any other place. So they just kind of go there. So I have Haunting of Hill House, Magic Toy Shop, Something Wicked This Way Comes, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, I really enjoyed. So yeah, I am a bit of a classics girly if you ask me. And then on the bottom shelf, I have Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie is a more recent find for me. I mean, I had heard of her, of course, but I just never read any of her books until this year. No, sorry, 2022. I keep forgetting it's 2023. I read Agatha Christie for the first time in 2022 and really enjoyed. So I have amassed a little bit of a collection here. I have some hardbacks here. Really love the cover of And Then There Were None. I really think this is a really beautiful edition. And I also love the cover of Murder on the Orient Express too. I think that's absolutely gorgeous. So I do have a few Agatha Christie hardbacks. And then I have the paperbacks. I've sorted them so that these are the most standalone ones. These are ones that don't really have any kind of lead detective. And then I go into Poirot and I have some of his books, and I have the complete short stories there first, just so you can just so that you can see that this is the Poirot bit, the Poirot section, and then Miss Marple. I only have a couple of Miss Marple books. I did read 450 from Paddington, and I read it on a sleeper train, and it was a fine book, but I didn't love it, and I didn't really like Miss Marple all that much. I much prefer Poirot. But yeah, I'm willing to give her books more of a chance. So I do have a couple of her books and the short stories there too, just to separate the section a little bit. And I think this tiny little Vine thing I got was in a publisher box. A publisher sent me a book and this was in it. So I think I just thought, you know what, it'll look good on the shelf, why not? And I have a dish from Fairy Loot 2 on the bottom. I'm really lacking in trinkets. I don't think I do very well with the trinkets in my library room, but that's fine. That's fine. You know, it's all about the books, really. It's all about the books. No trinkets. Well, lads, we have arrived at the graphic novel Alcove, which is just along from the Classics Corner. So this one is probably my most underdeveloped section in my library. I don't read a whole lot of graphic novels, but the ones that I do, I go hard for, okay? So essentially, Heartstopper. I have to have a little Heartstopper section here, of course. I get a lot of questions about this Nick and Charlie standee, and the reason I have this is because I worked at that bookstore for 4 years, and they would send us little standees and things all the time. So we had a spare one and I decided that'll look good in my library. So I do have that. We did also get a whole bunch of these to give out customers. They are just like Heartstopper character cards. So this is filled with a whole bunch of characters that you can see in the Heartstopper series. So I decided to just keep that behind there so that you can see Nick and Charlie. Although I'm wondering, should I put a different two characters on? Because Nick and Charlie are right there. Anyway, sorry. So I do have Heartstopper volumes 1 through 4 there. Cannot wait for volume 5 whenever that comes out. The Heartstopper yearbook, I have 2. And I did just pre-order all 4 volumes of the Waterstones editions of the Heartstopper books because they're coming out in hardback. And I was trying to find the Fairy Loot editions. For some reason, I didn't go for the Fairy Loot Heartstopper set. And people are selling them for ridiculous prices online. So I thought, you know what? No, let's not do it. And then the Waterstones editions got announced recently and I was over the moon. So I do have all of them pre-ordered. I have all of Alice Oseman's books here that I own. These aren't graphic novels, so they don't really fit in with the rest of this section. But, you know, it's Alice Oseman, and it's right next to Heartstopper, so of course I was going to do that. I have a little Heartstopper bag that I got from, I think it was Yalk, in one of the stalls too, and I just bought a book there because I wanted the bag. I didn't care for the book, I just wanted the bag. So I got that. I have my Kindle on this little stand. Sometimes I use my Kindle when I'm reading, not often, and I do have more of those character card things. I did take a few because we had a whole bunch, and yeah, I don't know what I want to do with them. I might put the different character cards on the wall there just to fill it up, I don't know. I have these Marvel collections too, which are absolutely stunning. These were some of the last things I bought from Waterstones before I had to give back my discount. So Black Panther there. I think it's just a collection of some of the comics from that series. So yeah, I have never read these old style comics before, and I just think it's gorgeous, and I will definitely read them at some point. So I do have Black Panther there. I love the films too. I watched the second one not too long ago in the cinema and loved it. And I also have Captain America and Spider-Man. Love them so much. Oh, my knees. I'm too old for this. Ugh. You will most likely spot my wine down here as well. I take it everywhere with me with this tour. And I have a little cat mushroom too that my colleagues gave me when I left Waterstones. And sometimes my cats sleep in there, so it's nice to have them nearby. And it also hides the extension lead behind. So, you know, multi-use. Okay, so the rest of the graphic novel Alcove. It's not amazing, it really isn't. I have the Saga Compendium here, which I've read half of and I do want to read more of. I really enjoyed what I read. I have all 4 of the Walking Dead compendiums, so this is the complete series, and I loved reading all of these. I read all of these in a vlog. It made me cry at the end. I didn't like the ending, but it made me cry. And reading them all in one go was honestly so brilliant. I think I read them all in, was like 5 or 6 days or something. There are 32 volumes. So good. I love The Walking Dead. And then I have mainly, okay, I don't know how I organized this. I think it was mainly like oversized, like the Avatar, The Last Airbender graphic novel is huge, so that goes at the front. And then I have some other graphic novel hardbacks here. So I have the Tea Dragon Society series, a Monster in the Woods book, which I got from Yalk, I believe, or was it Comic-Con? I believe a young girl called Amy Willis drew this all herself, published it herself, so I wanted to support her because it just sounds awesome. I have a couple of books by Jean from Jean Bookish Thoughts. She might have changed her channel name. Yeah, I have the Egyptian myths and Greek myths there. And then I have a couple of picture books. And then I go into the graphic novels alphabetically. So we start off with some old Buffy the Vampire Slayer graphic novels. So I have this one and I have this one. And yeah, I think I just got these from a random seller in a car boot sale. Are there any more of note here? I really enjoyed Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I haven't read Critical Role Vox Machina Origins yet, but it was a huge recommendation from one of my colleagues. Fence, I think this was top of Alexandra Roselyn's favorite books of 2022 video, so I need to read this ASAP. This was gifted to me from a good friend of mine called Harry, so thank you so much for sending it. I think it's LGBTQ+, and I'm always here for that. I honestly don't know how I sorted this out, because then I go into Anti-Hero, and that starts off maybe like the middle grade graphic novels, but then I don't really think The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse is strictly middle grade. I feel like children could read it. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know. So yeah, I feel like these are like the younger graphic novel things, maybe. No, because then Laura Olympus. Why is Laura Olympus down there? Okay, I genuinely have no idea how I did this section, okay? It's going to need a bit of rearranging, but it's fine, because this is what this video is for. It's to share my library and to get any feedback from you guys as well. If there's anything you think I should do to improve, tell me. Anyway, just ignore the layout of it. I do have Lightfall. I have the 3 Laura Olympus books, which I haven't read yet. Very excited to start reading these. I do have these dotted all over the place too, just to help me with any of the books that are facing out. I just got them from Amazon, so they were really cheap, but they help with a lot of the face outs that I have so that the books don't get damaged when they're doing that. And then just continuing on, I've read The Witch Boy, that was really good. And I haven't read Check Please yet, but I have the 2 books that are in the series. I don't know if there's going to be any more, but I'm really excited to read them. Again, LGBTQ+. I love stuff like that. So that is my very underwhelming graphic novel, Alcove. And that's why it's called an alcove, because it's tiny. Okay, special edition square now, and my battery's going to run out already. Wow. Anyway, yeah, special edition square. This is a bit of a newer edition. I did have this sort of island bookshelf last year, but it had loads of different things on it. It wasn't really called Special Edition Square. Some of the things on here were from what was on last year, but a lot has changed too. So I'll just get into it. I do have the Gilded Wolves Fairy Loot set, which I have read the first book and I liked it, by Roshni Chokshi. It is an absolutely gorgeous set, in all honesty, and I just knew I had to have it. I just think they are stunning. Absolutely stunning. Great way to start off the special edition square. And I have this, which I think I got from Chillingham Castle. This kind of goblet, a bit like the bat one that I got from Whitby when I read Dracula. So I just keep that there. Does it really go with that? Probably not. Down below that, I do have the Throne of Glass series. It does not fit here, but I didn't have anything else that would fill up a whole square. So I just kept the Throne of Glass series here. Not really much to report. I've only read the first and last book of it. Can you even see it because my foot's in the way? Never mind. The quality on this video is shocking, I know. But yeah, the Throne of Glass series, nothing else to say really. I have the 3rd book signed by Sarah J. Maas when I met her a good few years back. I think it was 8 years ago. Wow. And then I have the Illumicrate Greenbone Saga set too. And yeah, Jade City, I really enjoyed this one by Fonda Lee. So it does have the nice stenciled edge there for the first book. I do love how these all match. And honestly, I do love naked hardcovers. I think they're some of the prettiest books that I have. And then this brick, Jade Legacy. Stunning. And then just underneath that, I have the Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. I got the Illumicrate covers for them, so I don't know if they're going to continue when they release more of the series. Hopefully they do, so that they will all match. But yeah, not really much to report there. This one was there last year, so that's all good. Let's move along here. I have the entire Bridgerton set by Julia Quinn. Got these from Illumicrate, and I did read them all. Some of them are very good, but quite a few of them are not. It is a lot of hit and miss in this series, but I do have a whole vlog reading them all, so if you want to check that out, get my thoughts on them, know which ones to read, which ones to avoid, that would be great. I have more Sarah J. Maas here. I have the Crescent City series, so I have just the standard hardcovers. I got the proof of the very first House of Earth and Blood from 3 years ago now, I think. It was 2020 when I got this. And yeah, this was the proof copy sent to me from the publisher. And then these bottom two books are the tour editions of the Crescent City series that you got when you went to the tour of the series. Although they were online, so it's not like I actually went anywhere to get them. But yeah, I thought I would show you them. These two literally just came this morning. So these are my favorite editions of the Daughter of the Pirate King series by Trisha Levenseller. Amazing, right? So that's the cover of the first book. That's the cover of the second book. And I just can't get over how amazing the sprayed edge is. It's just too good. So I'm going to keep them like that on the shelf because how can I not? And I do have the Scythe Fairy Loot set. I've got it with the slipcovers on. I do have an unboxing video for this if you want to see what they look like under the dust jackets. It has been a long time since I read them, but I enjoyed them when I read them. But yeah, Thunderhead and the Toll, which I wasn't really the biggest fan of. I thought it didn't end the series very well. And then finally, I do have my Disney Twisted Tales on the bottom here. Most of them hardback. There was only a couple that came out in paperback that weren't released in hardback in those covers. So I only have them in paperback, which is a bit sad. It's A Whole New World and Once Upon a Dream. I really do wish that they came out with hardback covers like this, just to fulfill the collection. But yeah, the rest of them I've had for a long time, so you will have seen them in the previous bookshelf tour too. Nothing else to report there. I do enjoy some of them, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest of them. And there's quite a few that have come out now that I need to collect still. So yeah, it's a really great series, and I love Disney, what can I say? But yeah, that was Special Edition Square. Let's take a boat over to the newest section of my library, Manga Island. Wow, you made it. Don't forget to tip your ferryman. So yeah, this is the top of Manga Island. I firstly have a straw hat over here, which is to do with One Piece, my favourite manga of all time. And I will show you all of my One Piece collection just underneath it. I thought it would be very fitting to have it on top of the Manga Island so that you can really get a sense that this is the One Piece section. This was a gift from Jade for Christmas. This is a pirate box, and I thought again this would be perfect for One Piece and just the whole Manga Island theme in general, really. And there is absolutely nothing inside, so I probably should put something in there, like some gold coins, but I'm a little bit lazy, not gonna lie. But yeah, I absolutely love this. This is my pride and joy of the library, so I love having this there. I really do. I have a lantern here that I got from Amazon. I love it so much because it looks like actual flame. It's not, it's only LED, but it looks like a flame. There is another lantern which is on top of the Enchanted Garden, which I actually forgot to show you. So let's go on over to the Enchanted Garden. It is just over here on top of the Special Edition Square. It's nothing to write home about, really, if you ask me. I have my fake grass on the top. I have my iconic mushroom there as well, my oversized mushroom. I have the other lantern. I got a set of two from the Amazon listing, so that's pretty cool. I will show you this properly when I get to the actual middle grade lane bit, but I do have a coffin bookcase there. I also have this cute little mouse on a mushroom kind of thing. This I got from the same market that Jade got me my pirate chest from, and yeah, it was just a Christmas market. I thought it would look good on the Enchanted Garden. Just some pine cones, some random logs, just to make it look like a little garden. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I did have a gnome on here, but unfortunately it died. R.I.P. Anyway, let's get back to Manga Island. Oh, actually, I did also want to give you just a little bit of a closer look to the leaves that are on top of the Manga Island. These are just a random assortment of fake leaves that I also got from Amazon, and I just sprinkled them all on the top just to make it look like a jungle floor. I do have some more vines going through Manga Island, again, just to give the illusion that the jungle is overgrowing the library. So yeah, I think it's all right. In here we have one side of the Manga Island. This is the One Piece side. There is more manga on the back. There is another side to this island that you will be able to see in the sort of runway in the YA and adult retreat section. So I will have to pull this out to show you that because it's probably a bit too narrow for the tripod, but that's fine. So yeah, this is all One Piece. This is mainly where I film. I mainly film in front of this bit so that you can see the jungle, you can see the pirate chest, and I thought having One Piece on display behind me is definitely the best thing, and I love it. I have 101 volumes. I bought 100 volumes at once on eBay. Somebody was selling all of them at once and I just had to pick them up. And I do have, I mean, actually, before the One Piece section, I do have my Kingdom Hearts books and manga. This is so heavy, but it is the entire Kingdom Hearts novel series. It was all put into one bind up in this gorgeous box set, and I got that for the 20th anniversary of Kingdom Hearts, which was in 2022, and Kingdom Hearts is my favorite video game series of all time. I do also have a stack of the Kingdom Hearts manga. I absolutely adored the first Kingdom Hearts manga, so I want to try and get them all, and that is my goal for 2022, is to collect all of the Kingdom Hearts manga. So yeah, then we get into the One Piece section. I do start off with the omnibus editions. Those are the first ever editions I got and read. I have this scene from One Piece. This happens in the very first volume, and it's when Shanks gives Luffy his straw hat. Yeah, it's a really pivotal moment at the very start of One Piece. If you know, you know. And then yeah, going into the 101 volumes of One Piece. I love how colourful the sides look, I really do. I've had this sort of pirate bottle on my shelves for a long time too. I think I got this from Poundland, and I love having it there in this sort of piratey section. At the end, I do have this Luffy figure too, just to add that there. I have a couple of One Piece light novels. I have a Colour Walk Companion, which is the second one. I'm still trying to find the first one, and it is just essentially, I think, a compendium for the series, which I can't really read that yet because I'm still reading the series for the first time, so I can't look at spoilers. I have this One Piece card game binder too because I am getting the One Piece card game, and I can't open those yet either because of spoilers. In the words of Adele, hello from the other side. So yeah, this is the other side of Manga Island, the side that you don't really often get to see, and as you can probably tell, I will most likely need to expand Manga Island literally ASAP, because I've already filled it. I feel like with Bleach though, I do have the box set. I could probably just put it back in the box and just display the box set somewhere, so that will save me room. I would like to maybe move Berserk somewhere as well, because I do have these gorgeous editions. These are the deluxe editions of Berserk, and I'm going to be reading them all this year, and I'm so excited. And I did do a manga haul recently if you want to see more about those. So yeah, I have all of Berserk. They go first, and then it's essentially just alphabetical order in what I have for manga. I don't even think you can see all of the actual manga shelves, but yeah, I do start A to Z. I have like Ten Dance, Animal Crossing, just like loads of manga, essentially loads of things that I bought for my manga tournament, and I freaking love manga at the minute. Okay, I freaking love it. I did read the first volume of Blood on the Tracks recently. I believe it was Katie from Katie Coulson who recommended this, and oh my god, the end floored me. I've said this multiple times now, but I loved the first volume of Blood on the Tracks. So I have the 4 volumes there. Down here, is there anything else that I can tell you? I have my favourite manga here too, Dickify Island. I have the Given series, which I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of them. I read volume 1 and bloody loved it, and it reminded me of Heartstopper, but with music, essentially. And if they were in a band, and if all the band members fell in love. I also have the entire High School of the Dead series, which I absolutely love the anime from way back when, and I wanted to actually read the manga, but it is essentially out of print. It is out of print, so I had to get these off eBay. I really loved Hunter x Hunter as well, another great manga. I mean, you can see all of Bleach now, better now that I've moved further in. You can see all of Bleach. Really excited to read the series. Honestly, you have no idea. I have heard mixed things, but it is one of the big 3 manga series of all time. And then I have Monster. I have the first 4 volumes of the perfect editions of Monster. Really excited to continue on with that because it was such a fantastic series. I have the full color edition of Parasite. This is one of my most anticipated mangas of the year, and this is a bit of an older manga as well, I think, and they're currently releasing the full color editions. Oh my gosh, Spy Family, it was so good too, as well as Witch Hat Atelier. Absolutely freaking loved the first volume of this, and honestly, just how stunning are they all together. I have the first 4 volumes, and I believe there might be 9 or 10 out at the minute. And then to round off Manga Island, I have some Denmai, I believe it's called. I have Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation 1 and 2, Heaven Official's Blessing Volume 1, and the Scum Villains Self-Saving System, also book number 1. These aren't manga, but they are sort of tied to the manga section. But I definitely need to calm down with the manga purchases because this is ridiculous. Right, while I have the Manga Island pushed out, I thought it would be a good time to show you the YA and Adult Retreat section, since it is directly behind, and I now have room to sort of move the tripod down. So yeah, let's get into this section then. I have random things on the top. It doesn't really have a whole order or anything. It's just things that are on the top. I do have my Midnight Neverwood stuff on the top there. I do really enjoy that book, and I really like the fact that I have the standee, and I did get a proof copy, as you can see right there, and that was the limited edition hardback proof copy, so that is so awesome. I have the Born Season series by Samantha Shannon there. I have them all in hardback, but I would love to find the song Rising to match the other ones, because the one that I have is the one with the white cover. Shall I just show you? This is far too tall for me. I cannot see anything. Let me grab this. Yeah, this is just the white cover, but I would love to find one that has a cover that matches the 1st, 2nd, and 4th book. I have Priory of the Orange Tree there. I have Victoria Schwab's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I decided to do a little display bit for it to break up the kind of line of books that are on the top. Oh, hello, Ash. Hello, Tobu. I know you guys would rather say the cats. I don't even know if you'll be able to see him, but this is Tobu. Hi, Tobu. Woohoo! But here's Ash. Hello, Ash. Hello, Ash. Oh, you're so high up, aren't you? You're so high up, yes you are. Oh, I love you. Right, sorry about that interlude. I have J. Christos Nevernight series, Ampere the Vampire, The Poppy War by R.F. Kwan, and then I have a couple of random ones. That one's just an empty Fairy Loot blank book thing. I have a Phantasmagoria Compendium of Myths, Legends and Monsters there as well, and Dangerous Games to Play in the Dark. I was going to take it to Chillingham Castle and play some weird summoning spirit games, but then I thought that could potentially be dangerous. Over here I do mainly have Stephen King. On the top of Stephen King I have a Scream non-fiction book. I think it's an unofficial behind the scenes look at the first Scream movie, which I love. It's one of my favorite movies. Underneath that I have a Titanic book, again a non-fiction on it, and then underneath that I have a sort of prop, The Woodsboro Murders, but it's just a blank notebook, but I think it's kind of cool. And then yeah, all the Stephen King books that I have, I've read Cujo, Dolores Claiborne, Gerald's Game, Misery, Pet Sematary, Rose Madder, The Shining, and The Stand. I've read those ones. Pet Sematary is probably still my favourite Stephen King book, and I don't usually like movie covers, but I do really like this cover. The movie wasn't great though. Oh, and I also love Misery. I think Pet Sematary and Misery are my 2 favourite Stephen King books. So my YA and Adult Retreat section is essentially in size order, starting with the hardbacks, but also alphabetical order by author surname within those little parts of the bookshelves. So yeah, these are like the bigger hardbacks, and then we get into smaller hardbacks, all alphabetical. So it does get a little bit messy, not gonna lie. But I love the uniformity of doing this. And I do the same thing with my middle grade section, so bear that in mind. I do have quite a lot of special editions on this one. I have a Leviathan sprayed edge edition. That's beautiful. I recently got this Alone with You in the Ether with these beautiful sprayed edges. I did really like Ready Player One, and I do love this cover of that. Didn't love the second book though. I actually really did not like the second book. Really excited to read The Final Strife. I'm actually doing a Patreon book club for it this year, so I'm really excited to read that with my patrons. I have a link to my Patreon down in the description box if you want to check it out. Moving along, I do accidentally have 2 copies of Foul Lady Fortune. One of them is a Waterstones edition, and the other one is a Fairy Loot edition, but I totally forgot I'd pre-ordered the Fairy Loot edition. I also have the Fairy Loot Diary of Blood. I love the sprayed edges of it. I'm really excited to read this. I know Katie Colson really likes it. I do love the sprayed edge of the Christie affair as well. And by the way, guys, I can't see if you can see this. I can't see it. You're too high up. Oh, Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes. Again, another gorgeous book with a gorgeous sprayed edge. And another one, A Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting by Sophie Irwin. I love this stenciled edge a lot. I don't just buy books based on their sprayed edges or stenciled edges, but I do have sort of anxiety when I think that a book's going to sell out and I won't ever be able to get it ever again. So that is something I struggle with. On this side, I do have this. This just came in a random Fairy Loot box. I think I might just throw it out. It is to do with Kingdom of the Wicked. So I did get this from Fairy Loot, and I still haven't read it yet. I haven't heard great things, but who knows, maybe one day I will read it. But yeah, I'm thinking of just getting rid of this, to be honest. I also have a scroll. It's just like sort of prop scroll thing, just to, I don't know, add something. I might move that somewhere, I don't know. But the YA and adult shelves are lacking in terms of the sort of trinkets that I have. Babel by R.F. Kwan. This one is the Waterstones edition. I am obsessed with it. I love Black Sprayed Edges though. Wild and Wicked Things by Francesca May. Yeah, you know what I do? I love Black Sprayed Edges. Leave a comment down below if you agree. Circe, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I sobbed at this. Gorgeous book. And I have this one and Circe signed by Madeline Miller. Yeah, I mean, it's really just a sticker, but, you know, it's signed. I think Circe is actually signed, though. Yeah, it is. I'm proud of that. Really loved Mexican Gothic. I love Sylvia Moreno Garcia. And yeah, that's this shelf. Hiya, Ash. Are you coming? Do you want to be on camera again? No? Okay. I have the Thursday Murder Club series. I'm really excited to read these. A lot of people have really enjoyed these, so I really want to give them a read. Brandon Sanderson. I only have a few Brandon Sanderson hardbacks, and these are the Skyward series. I did enjoy the first one, but I don't know if I'm loving the series anymore because I wasn't the biggest fan of the second one, and I'm putting off reading the third, not gonna lie. I am obsessed with the sprayed edge of Pandora. That is another beautiful book. I have two copies of Daughter of the Moon Goddess. One is a Fairy Loot edition and one is a Waterstones edition. So yeah, I have the sequel too. That looks amazing. But I had to put the Fairy Loot edition like that because the sprayed edge is top tier. I also have, well, it's kind of hard to get stuff out on the shelf. I have this copy of The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I don't often read Dark Academia, and I do know that this one is a sort of classic, so it would be great to actually read this at some point. I wasn't sure where to put my Yalk band, but I had to keep it for sentimental value. Okay, Lessons in Chemistry. I mean, the cover is fine, but then you look at the stenciled edge of the periodic table, and you just have to fall in love. Is this a book tour or a stenciled / sprayed edge tour? Who knows? I don't really think I have too much to say about a lot of the books that are on these shelves, in all honesty. I have read quite a few of them and I do really enjoy and love them, but I don't think I have that much to say. I did get these two recently, the Fairy Loot edition of The Way of Kings, and I love the look of them. I love gilded edges. Another book here as well with black sprayed edges. Love it. And it was a really good book too. I really liked it, If We Were Villains. And this is sort of where the hardbacks end. So, I mean, I do have this tin from, I think, Fairy Loot or Illumicrate, I can't remember. So the hardbacks end here with the smallest hardback I have, which is Galatea by Madeline Miller. It's really cute. It's so cute. Oh, I love the Witches Steeped in Gold Fairy Loot editions. I'm sorry, but they are stunning. And the sequel too. The sequel, oh, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But then the paperbacks start here, and the paperbacks are just all in alphabetical order by author surname. I haven't sorted them in height. I did used to, but it looked really ugly when I did that, so I've just had to grin and bear it, because yeah, I mean, I don't mind too much. But yeah, starting off with Ace of Spades. Really love this book. I thought it was fantastic when I read it a couple of years ago. Bunny I read last year and I was surprisingly impressed by it. I thought it was so good. Oh, Flowers in the Attic scarred me, not gonna lie. I have the original Legends and Latte book before it became a published thing. Gosh, I think the Hunger Games books are some of my oldest books that I own on these shelves, and they have these kinds of covers, and honestly, the nostalgia for me, it just reminds me of just better days, okay? Better days. I loved YA back then. A recent favourite of mine, Finley Donovan, is killing it. Another all-time favourite of mine too, recently, is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. The movie is my favourite movie of all time. It's kind of split up now because of the actual bookshelves, but I do have some special editions of Twin Crowns, and these are the Waterstones editions there, the Ren edition and the Rose edition, so they have those sprayed edges, and then this was in Fairy Loot. What a beautiful, beautiful cover. The Perfect Pooh is one of my favourites too. Really funny, you guys should check it out. Oh, Come Closer by Sarah Gran. Every single time I pull it out, because I read this in 2021 and just really enjoyed it, okay? It was super short and so good. Very, very creepy too. I have a sort of Grady Hendrix paperbacks bit here, but I have unhauled some of his books. I don't know if he's for me anymore, but I did enjoy My Best Friend's Exorcism when I read it years ago. I liked Horror Store when I read it years ago too. Still haven't read We Sold Our Souls, but maybe one day. And I do have this beautiful crystal tree that I got from a crystal shop in Ipswich. So that goes there, just because I really liked Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I thought that was really good. Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I need to continue the series, honestly. Robin Hobb is such a great writer. Really excited to read Keeper of Enchanted Rooms. I've heard great things about this recently. I have some Colleen Hoover there that I haven't read, and I do want to try and read maybe next month. And I also start off the Good Girls Guide to Murder series there, and book 3 is on the next shelf. Oh hey, there it is. There's book 3. Oh, The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum floored me. It's based on a true story, and I sobbed. I sobbed so much. Ugh. One of my recent favourites too, Confessions by Kanea Minato. So good. This book floored me. I have been floored by a lot of books the past couple of years, but Confessions is definitely one that floored me the most. I have the Star of the Lunar Chronicles collection there, with book 4 just here too. I really enjoy the Kiss and Booth series. Please do not at me. I enjoyed Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I have some Katie Robert here. I have quite a few Victoria Schwab books here. These books will always forever be BookTube books. The Archived and the Unbound, because I remember, I think it was back in 2013 or 2014 when I really started falling in love with BookTube, and I think this was the first book I ever picked up based on a BookTube recommendation, and I think it was Jesse the Reader. Really enjoyed The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I need to read more by him, I really do. And not his YA, I'm talking about his adult stuff. The tripod can't go any lower, I'm so sorry, but yeah, this is essentially just the end of the paperbacks for the YA and adult shelves. Not a whole lot to report here again. I do have more KJ Sutton books from the Fortuna Sworn series, and I really want to read Battle Royale 2. The Summer I Died, though, this one is a very graphic and extreme horror book. Really excited to read Paul Tremblay, especially since this book I think has been made into a movie now. So I'm looking forward to reading that. I enjoyed The Burning Girls by CJ Tudor too. I'm currently reading Hummingbird Salamander, as you can see by my bookmark, and it is so weird. It is so weird, but I'm enjoying it. And I think I got this from either Fairy Loot or Illumicrate. I cannot remember. And then the last two shelves here are just filled with ARC copies that I received from publishers. Okay, so we've moved over to the Nostalgia Nook now. This is another new addition to the library, so I feel like I have way more to talk about. And yeah, so as you can see on the top, I have my Book of Shadows from Charmed. I have the miniature edition, and this you can't get any longer, and this was sold online, I think it was Prescott Manor, and it has a lot of replica pages in from the Book of Shadows from the TV show Charmed, and yeah, it's just like a mini version of that. And I do have just a blank Book of Shadows replica, which is a bit more life-size, just behind it. And I also have a couple of portions there as well, a little cauldron, spells and potions kind of thing that I got from a stall at Comic-Con. This is a map that was illustrated for the Touch of Whimsy, was it? Yeah, Touch of Whimsy Adventures Through Wonderland readathon that I co-hosted with Lexi, Kaylin, and Jade back in September 2020. And this was the prompt map. So I had it printed, and yeah, I had to have a copy of that. Okay, she literally doesn't want to come off either. She's a stubborn bitch. So this is the Cruella face mask that I chalked on in a live show once. And I didn't have the heart in me to throw it out because I know how much joy that moment brought to a lot of people. And I just love making people laugh. So the fact that that happened meant that Cruella de Vil, the face mask, will always be immortalized in my library. Really, I should have her framed, but at the minute I just have her hanging off the end of a Goosebumps box and she constantly falls down. Oh, look at him. Look at his beautiful little face. Oh. On this shelf, I have my Charmed books, and I also have some Charmed magazines too. I have a jack-o'-lantern, candle, and a cauldron. So yeah, these are all my Charmed books. I collected these when I was a teenager. I was obsessed with Charmed, and I used to get these in the 3 for 2 offer at Waterstones back in the mid-2000s, and I have read a lot of them, and there are still some more that I would love to read. So I just absolutely love them. I do have season 9 of Charmed. I have the 4 volumes of season 9. Well, I only have the 3rd volume of season 10, but they are so hard to get hold of. I don't think I'll ever get them, so that makes me so sad. But yeah, this is the only volume in season 10 that I have. Okay, it's a little bit harder to show you the bottom shelves of these because of the graphic novel Alcove. But over here we have the full Vampire Diaries series. I am currently reading these as a film in this video. The Vampire Diaries was one of my favorite TV shows back in 2009 through to maybe 2012. So I also got some random Ghost Whisperer books with a little ghosty from the York shop, which Becca from Becca and the Books gifted me for Christmas one year. Love it. Oh, I have a couple of One Tree Hill books. I didn't realize these were a thing until last year, and I still need to read them. I was supposed to read them, but I ended up losing track of time and I couldn't get a vlog made for them. I also have a nice sizable Sabrina the Teenage Witch section too. I have read a few of them and I did do a vlog. I also recreated the opening of Sabrina, the amazing season 1 through 3 theme song, of course. I remade it for that vlog. I have a Gilmore Girls Stars Hollow kind of thing. I got this from Forbidden Planet. Down here, I have my Pretty Little Liars books. These are all of them. I read all of them for a vlog. The first 8 were good and entertaining. The last 8 were terrible. And then I have my Gossip Girl books. I'm reading these next month, so I got the entire collection. I'm scared to start them, honestly. Like, I don't know if it'll be any good. And it's been years since I watched the TV show. I don't even remember half of the TV show, so it's going to be an experience reading all of these. I even have the one where it's Gossip Girl Psycho Killer, which retells the first Gossip Girl book, but if there was a serial killer on the loose. And just down here, you can't really see that much, but I do have some High School Musical books over there. I have some Hannah Montana books. I have the New Adventures of Mary-Kate and Ashley down here too. I've actually got these gifted to me. These are High School Musical stories from East High. I mean, what more could you want? I never read these before, but I do love High School Musical. This is essentially my Disney Channel kind of section down here. There is even a novelization for High School Musical 2, one of my favorite Disney Channel movies of all time. But High School Musical does not beat my love for the Cheetah Girls. So even though these books were terrible, I read these a couple of years back, maybe nearly 3 years ago. The Disney Channel original movies, number 1 and 2, are some of my favorite movies ever. Honestly, of anything ever. I love the Cheetah Girls 1 and 2. And randomly as well, I don't know why they're down here, in all honesty, but I do have the Song of the Lioness series by Tamara Pierce. Okay, so the middle grade lane now, and I apologize for the audio in the previous few clips. Honestly, I'm still trying to figure out the microphone that I have. I'm just going back to the microphone that's on my camera while I go through this section, because I can't use my tripod here. It's far too narrow, and I can't really push this back because so much is connected with the vines and things and the fairy lights. So yeah, I'm so sorry. I will try and keep my hand as steady as possible as I'm filming in this section, but hopefully the audio is much better now. I am so sorry. I try to film these bookshelf tours and I usually think, oh, they're going so well, and then it turns out during editing that they do not sound great. So yeah, this is my 3rd day filming and it's time for the middle grade lane section. So let's go through it. This is the first thing you see when you go to the middle grade section. It is just a smaller bookshelf that I got. Oh, I mean, firstly, I do have a Narnia sort of map that's on a piece of fabric. I'm thinking of taking this down because, again, I did not like the Chronicles of Narnia. I have a huge watch that I wore for my costume as the White Rabbit in the Adventures Through Wonderland readathon announcement video. I have pretty much a Cressida Cowl section bit here. I have a moon on the top there. And I have my How to Train Your Dragon series, which is what my channel name is named after. How to Train Your Gavin, How to Train Your Dragon. I mean, they kind of rhyme a little bit. But yeah, this is the entire collection. And this is the World Book Day book that came out, I think, in like 2003 or 2005 or something. So my Wizards of One series and the brand new Cressida Cal book, Which Way to Anywhere, is there too. These are just the standard hardback Wizard of One's books. And I do have a proof copy of the third book. And this is the proof copy of the fourth and final book. I do have an art print in here too, and I just love how the cover of this says Forever Magic. I just think it's so magical. And then this is the final copy of Which Way to Anywhere, and this is the proof copy of Which Way to Anywhere. Really enjoyed this book. Down here I have my Sophie Anderson collection, pretty much. I have the House with Chicken Legs. This is the US hardback, as well as that one is. This is the Japanese hardback that the author sent me because she had spare copies. My standard paperback and my US hardback of The Girl Who Speaks Bear. These are custom. My friend Ashley, she took the dust jackets of the US copies and she painted this herself. So I keep them on display because they are some of the best things I've ever had in this collection. It's just so unique and precious. Under the House with Chicken Legs is a sort of leaflet poster thing for the stage production of The House with Chicken Legs, and I went to Manchester to see this with a few of my booktube friends, and Sophie Anderson was there too, and we got to see her, and it was just amazing. While we were there as well, Sophie Anderson did give me and my friends this. This is from The Thief Who Sang Storms. It's sort of like a little prop, and it is this little coin thing here. So it was so nice of Sophie Anderson to give us this. Down here I have another hardback Girl Who Speaks Bear. This is I think it's Polish. I think it's the Polish Girl Who Speaks Bear, but I just love that cover. More paperbacks. This is the proof copy, actually. This was a limited proof copy. I have the US hardback of Castle of Tangled Magic. Thank you so much, Claire, for sending me that. I have the US proof of Castle of Tangled Magic, some normal paperbacks, The Thief Who Sang Storms proof copy, and The Thief Who Sang Storms final copy. So as you can see, I am a huge Sophie Anderson fan. On the other side of the special edition square and part of Middle Grade Lane, just under the Enchanted Garden, I have a lot of middle grade series here, and you know, I do have some YA down here, but there's nowhere else I can really put them. So I start off with the Edge Chronicles. These are I have some World Book Day books there, and I have the original covers of the Edge Chronicles too. And then I go into the re-released series so that these are complete. One of my all-time favorite childhood middle grade series. It is incredible. I have a Rick Riordan little section here. I only have the Percy Jackson books, so this is a really cool looking coin, but I just can't remember which subscription box it came in. I have the Percy Jackson World Book Day book, the Start of the King Chronicles, and Heroes of Olympus. Just here I have my Are You Afraid of the Dark books. These are probably more considered teen, and I absolutely adore this. I'm going to be reading all of these in October for a Halloween vlog. These are a little bit harder to get hold of, but I do have 15 of the 23. I am struggling to find more of them, in all honesty. They are quite expensive. But yeah, just Are You Afraid of the Dark? That Nickelodeon TV show I used to watch in the 90s. Yes, loved it. I do have a really special one though. This one was sent to me from Eleni, who found it in Canada. And you see that part of the cover there? She drew that. She found it secondhand, but it was missing part of the cover. So she decided to fill it in, essentially, and draw the rest of the cover so it looks absolutely perfect. So thank you so much, Eleni. Honestly, like, this is my pride and joy. Well, yes, hopefully I will find all of those at some point. Down here I have my Animorphs collection, and I haven't completed it just yet. I have, I think, around about 30 to 40 of them, but they are kind of hard to get hold of also. I managed to get all of the ones that were really cheap on eBay, but the other ones are like £40 to £100 each, and I'm not paying that much. So I do have quite a few, but I am missing some as well. Yeah, essentially I'm just getting these covers. These covers are a little bit harder to get hold of, but these were the only ones that were released in the UK after the 19th book, I think. So I want them all to match. And yeah, they have such really weird, interesting covers, in all honesty. And I read the entire series in a vlog last January actually. It was this time last year. I was reading all of these. Then moving along, again, like YA, so it doesn't really fit in this middle grade lane section, but there's nowhere else to put it. I have my entire Fear Street collection. This is the original Fear Street series. I believe there are quite a few spin-offs, but yeah, I ended up getting these off a seller off eBay. for a really decent price, especially since these are so hard to find. Fear Street by R.L. Stine, a teen anthology-like horror series. Like Goosebumps but for teens, essentially. But yeah, I will be reading all of these for a vlog that will hopefully be coming around Halloween time. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed I can do that. Speaking of R.L. Stine, this is the Goosebumps section. I had a few people suggest maybe calling it the Goosebumps Grotto, which actually isn't a bad idea. It is not a bad idea, but this entire section here is Goosebumps. And I have the One Day at Horrorland board game up here. It's so hard to show you the entire thing, honestly, because of how tight it is back here. It has a whole Ferris wheel. It has a horror there, horror bridge, all of that. So I think it looks so cool. There's a Doom slide, just to really show you the introduction to the Goosebumps section. So these are all the UK covers because I live in the UK and I read all of these for a vlog, so you should absolutely check it out. Haunted Mask is my favourite, and Goosebumps means so much to me. Even though I think half of these are terrible now as an adult, I loved these as a kid, and these really got me into reading. So these do hold the biggest place in my heart. As much as I tear it apart these days, I still find so much joy out of them, and I will always appreciate what R.L. Stine did for me as a child. This is the end of the original series, and then we go into the Series 2000 series, so I have all 25 of those. I have only some Give Yourself Goosebumps books. I also have this little street alley thing, so that is there too. I would not want those on all the time, but it's cool to have that kind of alley street there to separate the Give Yourself Goosebumps, the very small section I have, and the Goosebumps Horrorland series, which I have also read all of. And then I have the Goosebumps Most Wanted series, which is the next Goosebumps series I'll be reading. And there's the Haunted Mask and the rest of the series. I believe that's all of them. And then I have just the Goosebumps Slappy World series, so that will fill in this space. I have this here too. These were just Halloween decorations, but I think it will look cool if I can get the Wizard of Oz collection. I think there are like 12 books or something, maybe more, and I'd love to get the complete collection, put it here, and have the kind of witch's feet hanging out from it to kind of make it look like it's been crushed by a house, you know, the Wicked Witch of the East, just to make it look more Oz-like. So that's why they're there, in case you're wondering. And then we get into the main middle grade lane section. So I do have up here my Amari books, quite a few of them actually. I have the UK covers there. I have the proof copy of Amari. This one was sent to me from the author, thanking me for the interview I did with him on my channel, gosh, 2 years ago now. So that's awesome. The UK paperback. I have some Kieran Millwood Hargrave special edition books here because I love her writing. And this is a brand new proof copy that I got of a new series she's writing that comes out 31st of August 2023. This book comes out. In the Shadow of the Wolf Queen. I'm so excited to read this. Julia and the Shark there, one of my favourite middle grades. It's just so beautiful. I have some Starfell books by Dominique Valente with a Starfell standee behind it. I have a huge Midnight Guardians standee there by Ross Montgomery. Love that middle grade book so much. And then I have my sort of Dragon Realm section here. I have a Dragon City standee there. I have my Dragon Mountain proof copy and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books in that series. I need to show you the sprayed edges of these because these were all Waterstones editions and they all have these stenciled sprayed edges. And then we get into the Michelle Harrison section. She's one of my favourite middle grade authors of all time. I have a Pinch of Magic standee there. In this, well, there's a Pinch of Magic proof copy, and the 13 Treasure series is the first series she wrote, One Wish. And then this, A Sprinkle of Sorcery. This one is a proof copy. This was number 27 of 100. But it is limited and signed and dedicated from the author herself. So this is an absolute prized possession. And then I have the whole Pinch of Magic series there. And then I get into my Laura Ellen Anderson section. So I have all of the Amelia Fang books. I have a random skull in a jar thing I got from Poundland. The batteries died a long time ago. I have a bat with Catacorn headband on, and a Catacorn is from the series. I have a jack-o'-lantern that I accidentally smashed the front of, but it looks like it's smiling, so I thought I would keep it. I have an enamel pin there of Squashy from the Amelia Fang series. And then we get into Rainbow Grey, which this Back there is a sort of horn thing that I made myself for an event I did with Laura Ellen Anderson. I dressed as my character from the series because I do appear in the series as a character, Gusty Gavin, and I have my proof copy there. I have the Waterstone Sprayed Edge Rainbow Grey there, and then the normal edition, the Waterstone Sprayed Edge of the second book, and the normal edition of the second book there. So excited for the third book. I'm a bit ridiculous with this, but this is my entire Frostheart collection. I have, well, one, the proof copy there, which I got a few months before the book came out, and then I fell head over heels in love with it. I have a little sampler thing there too, with a bookmark for Frostheart. That came out before the book came out as well. I have the US hardback, Voyage of the Frostheart of the first book, the second book in hardback US, Escape from Aurora, and then the US hardback, Rise of the World Eater, which is the third and final book. And then in front of those, I have my UK paperback copies, and they all have a lovely sprayed edge too, which I don't think you can get anymore. But I am obsessed. But the biggest thing that I absolutely love from this part is my Frostheart replica that the publisher sent me after the series ended for my support on the series. There was only 5 made, and I have the third one. That right there is a replica of the Frostheart that you can see on the cover of the book. And it is just so beautiful and so lovely, especially since I've been such a huge champion for the series. To have this is just incredible. I was so honoured to have gotten one of those. Moving on from that, I have my Touch of Whimsy travel mug. It does keep up this seance in session from the Cassidy Blake series. It does have illustrations of May, Kaylin, Lexi, and Jade on as the characters from Wonderland for that readathon, so I absolutely love that. I have my Nevermore section by Jessica Townsend. I have a umbrella there, a Nevermore umbrella. I have some candles from Grace and Honey that are Nevermore themed. I have the US hardbacks there and a Hotel Decalion thingamabobby. I have a pin for the Wondrous Society just back there too. I have the UK hardback editions there and the proof copy of Hollowpox, which I really enjoyed. And then finally for the top, I have my Hat Makers by Tamsin Merchant section. So that is essentially the top of the shelves. I now go into the hardbacks, and just like my YA and adult shelves, these go in height order with author surname also alphabetical within that. I do start the section off with this, which was just a book that my parents got me back in the 90s, where me and my siblings were made into characters and we were part of the story. Look at that, My Adventure Books, 1995. Wow, I was like 3. So yeah, we get into the A to Z. I really liked Daughter of the Deep by Rick Riordan. I thought that was pretty good. I've got some Emma Carroll there. I have the Clock of Stars series, which I really enjoy. More Kerry Millwood Hargrave. Yeah, just a lot of random things. And then, as you can see there, the hardbacks get a little bit smaller, so that's why I've sectioned that bit off. I have the entire Catherine Arden series. I have this little house thing I got in an Al Craig Jr. box. I thought this would look pretty here. A lot more hardbacks just coming along here too. Oh, absolutely adore Hide and Seeker by Dacre Herman. By the way, one of my favourite middle grade horrors coming along here. And Root Magic by Eden Royce, one of my favourites again. And then I have Hocus Pocus, and this one is the illustrated edition. This is staying out forever. I know Halloween has passed, but I just want to display like this. It's too big to display on the side like this because it just overtakes the shelf. But this is the gorgeous illustrated edition by Gris Grimley. So yeah, I love Hocus Pocus. It's one of my favourite movies of all time. I watch it every Halloween. More hardbacks, not much to say about them. I did love Night Books, and I'm so excited to read Grave Books. Eva Evergreen is a great series too, really enjoy those, and Kiki's Delivery Service was so cute. If you love Studio Ghibli, you will love this, the original book that the movie is based on. Here I have the Guardian series, and these inspired / continue on from the Rise of the Guardians DreamWorks film. I have a Matilda cup just above that too. I have my Pages and Co series by Anna James. I have all 5 books so far, with a light there, a reading light that the author sent me. I have this really cool chest. This does have some gold coins in, and I feel like these might be out of date because I got this, I think, 2 years ago for the Ship of Shadows, so I absolutely adore that, and I keep this on the shelf here so that you can see it in the background of my videos when I'm sitting down over here. And then we start the A to Z middle grade books, and I honestly love how pretty much uniform these books look, and I absolutely am obsessed with how middle grade spines look. I think they all look so colourful, and it's the reason why I keep the age ranges separate, because I just think all middle grade looks beautiful together, and I'm obsessed. I'm really obsessed. I love middle grade so much, in all honesty, and I cannot gush about it more than I already am. I love me some Vashti Hardy there as well, some more Kieran Milwood Hargrave, Phil Hicks, Aileen Jones, love. The paperback pages of Core series, as you can tell, I love that series. I have the Ship of Shadows there. Oh, I have my Strange Worlds Travel Agency section, pretty much. I have this that I got from Alcove Jr. It was a suitcase sort of tin that was in one of the boxes, and then I have the published series, and then I have my proof copies of all 3 books there. Moving on from that, again, just more and more middle grade books. Oh, the entire Adventure on Train series so far. Love this series so much. One of my favourite middle grade books of all time, alongside Frostheart, Where the Mountain Meets the Moon by Roselyn. So that had to be facing out. I love it so much. And yeah, just more and more and more. I love Elle McNichol's books. Like a Charm is fantastic, as well as all of them. Show Us Who You Are is so underrated, honestly. It needs more love. Green Glass House I loved too. I need to continue the series. The entire Worst Witch series. I love The Worst Witch so much. I grew up on that TV show and just love the book so much too. It's amazing. R.I.P. Jill Murphy. She is, alongside R.L. Stine, as somebody who really inspired me when I was a kid. The entire Murder Most Unladylike series, as you can see, there are a lot. I have the Lockwood and Co. series. I'm not sure whether to keep those in middle grade or move them to young adult. I have no idea. Thomas Taylor, I love his books so much. And yeah, just continues on and on until we get to the very end of the middle grade paperbacks. I love Front Desk. It's so fantastic. I cannot wait to read more of the series. Has anyone seen the TV show for this? I absolutely adore the TV show of The 10th Kingdom. And the book is pretty good too. I read this maybe 10 years ago. I read a friend's copy, so yeah, it was really good. And then finally, I do have my middle grade proof copies. I have a lot of those because I was sent a great many of them from publishers while I worked as a children's bookseller at Waterstones. So yeah, I do have quite a few of these. Yeah, it just goes on and on and on. I love the fact that I have the Lindsay Curry proof copies. Scratch was my first American proof, so I will always hold that near and dear to my heart. But I honestly love the fact that I have some American proof copies. I also love this hardback edition of The Last Bear. This was sent to me as a proof before it became a big thing. It was huge and I love it. And it is gorgeous. And I did get it signed by the author as well when I did an interview with her last year. And that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I do apologize for all of the technical issues during this video. I apologize for the audio. I am still learning. So hopefully you still had some enjoyment out of this home library / bookshelf tour. Don't forget to leave a like if you did enjoy it and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave all the comments down below. Let me know what you thought of the video. What do you think of my library? Any improvements? Anything that you have for me? Let me know down below. Let's chat. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons for supporting my channel. If you'd like to join my Patreon or follow me on any social media, then all the links are down in the description box. But yeah, I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye.